Hi there, I'm Matthew Lester from the Rhodes Business School. The medical profession has been very successful in extending our life expectancy. That's the good news. The bad news is, how are we going to afford it? If you're going to live to a ripe old age, you are going to have to accumulate massive amounts of capital within your retirement funds. This is a costly and complicated exercise. Recently, there has been much about this in the press, as South Africa has instituted a new retirement reform package. What does this mean if you are in professional practice today? You may have noticed that there are fundamental reforms in retirement planning that will take effect from 1 March 2016. These changes are fundamental to how we look at retirement planning today. If you get it right, you might retire earlier. Get it wrong, and you'll be working for a long time. All of this is complex and may require specialist financial advice. What's the fuss all about? Well, let's look at the way we were. Put up a lifespan. You were born, graduated, and then you will work until you ultimately retire, and then ultimately you will die. In the old days, we used to say to people, when you're young, concentrate on your spouse, your kids, and getting a property. When you got to your 35s, 40s, we used to talk about saving and investment. And only when we got well into our 40s would we start talking about a retirement plan. Then, when you got to 65, we would turn your retirement funds into an annuity, and off you'd go to the old age home. Well, that's changing completely. There are new rules regulating tax deductions to retirement funds. They will take effect from 1 March 2016. Basically, they are saying you can contribute more to retirement funds today at 27.5% of your taxable income. That's the good news. The bad news is that the contributions will be capped at 350,000 Rand per annum. So, when we look at a retirement plan today, what we are saying is, yes, your life will run out as it did before, but to achieve a tax-deductible retirement plan, we are having to spread contributions across a lifetime. And then when one gets to retirement, one has to say, how do we manage your retirement funds while you are in retirement so that they last until you die? There are other changes which are very important. Contribution and withdrawal to funds is no longer regulated with regard to when you actually retire. Today, a taxpayer is allowed to elect the date of retirement. It's not determined by the employer. So taxpayers are advised to continue to contribute to some funds even though they may be withdrawing from others. And this will continue right up until you die. Why? Basically, retirement funds correctly used have huge tax advantages. Let's have a look at it. You make tax-deductible contributions to a fund, achieving a discount of up to 41% on investment. That's the tax deduction. Then you get the tax-free growth within the fund that covers all forms of income that retirement funds receive. When you come out of the fund, there is no capital gains tax consequence, and the benefits are estate duty-free if you die in the interim. Of course, people will ask you, they'll say, but what about the tax on withdrawal from a fund? Well, when one looks at the retirement fund's lump sum table, it's certainly very tax efficient to draw one's funds down by 700,000 Rand on retirement. In the old days, we used to draw a lot more, but if one looks at the tax rate on higher lump sums, it's pretty unattractive. So we have to get into a game of managing your retirement withdrawals. It works something like this. You look at the tax tables and you say, right, today we have a good deal for taxpayers who earn below 550,000 Rand per annum. But National Treasury is concentrating on the higher end taxpayer where the tax rates are getting pretty exorbitant. In short, the lower end taxpayer gets a very nice deal at the expense of the higher end taxpayer. So we look at the components of retirement taxable income and we say the following. We start off living on capital. We draw down on the share portfolios and unit trusts because they have the lowest inherent tax rate, only being subject to capital gains tax at 16%. We also concentrate on drawing down on the insurance funds. The ones that we have to be careful with are the retirement funds, because they are potentially taxable. However, once we are over the age of 65, we get deductions and allowances, which can negate much of the tax that is paid on retirement funds. We get the annual allowances, we get the higher rebates, and we get the very generous medical rebate. We need to put these all together in a tax concoction, which works as follows. You get tax-deductible contributions across a lifetime to retirement funds. They are drawn down on the living annuity principle. We draw down annuity income to pay for medical expenses in retirement. We also fill up the lower end of the tax tables, and we also draw down tax-efficient lump sums. This is quite an art, and in many ways, correctly using this procedure, retirement funds have replaced trusts as the optimum financial planning vehicle. But to get it right takes a lifetime of financial planning involving investment strategy, tax planning, estate planning. Really, this can only be achieved using a professional advisor that knows his oats. I'm Matthew Lester at the Rhodes Business School. Thank you for your attention.